Planet Dolan. From getting hit by a car while trying to impress someone to having your date confess his love of Satan, Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about our most horrifying first date experiences. I'm Daending and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by daending. On her first date ever, Gooby went to the movies with a guy she liked. She was really nervous, so she suggested they see a kids movie. That way she could bring her little sister along. As they waited in line to get tickets, Gooby's date started talking about his friend Bob. Kept going on and on about how Bob makes him real happy. Gooby was really confused. Her date then pulled out a pocket-sized bong and introduced it as Bob. Gooby was shocked, tried to keep her sister from seeing it. The guy kept going on and on about Bob, and then had the nerve to ask if Gooby would buy his snacks and movie ticket. Gooby ended up dumping him before they even went into the theater, but the guy still came in and sat behind them. He spent the whole movie annoying Gooby, begging her to take him back. He kept this up for 2 whole weeks. Well, he might not have gotten Gooby, but at least he has fucking Bob. Number 9 was submitted by xRaydBawsx. So my brother met this girl at a party and they decided to go on a date, right? While they were out, this girl's roommate sent her a text saying her cat was missing. The girl was a huge animal lover and showed my brother heaps of pictures of a missing cat. She was so distracted that my brother suggested he take her home so she could look for it. It was dark when they got to her house, but my brother offered to help find the cat. As they looked around the neighborhood, my brother was hit by a car. He ended up in hospital with broken ribs and a sprained arm. As for the cat, it was in the closet the whole time. Number 8 was submitted by Dollface84. Melissa had a very awkward first date with a guy she met at Match.com. They went out to a restaurant and all night he kept asking her personal questions like,
"So when do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? When we do have kids, do you want to do it all natural or cesarean? And are you going to breastfeed our kids?"
Melissa told him she didn't know and kept eating her food. At the end of the date, the guy walked her to a car. Melissa went to shake his hand and he grabbed her boobs and said, "My God, I can already imagine you feeding our children from these things." Melissa swatted his hand away and said,
"That is never going to happen with you."
And she took off. Needless to say, there was no second date. Number 7 was submitted by Xenaphobic. Snoopy once worked at McDonald's where she had a crush on one of the cooks. They arranged to go on a date, but the plans fell through 4 times for reasons beyond their control. On the 5th try, they both got called into work, so Snoopy suggested they do something after their shift instead. After getting stuck in traffic for an hour, they went back to his place to awkwardly watch a movie with his parents. Snoopy was starving. She hadn't eaten anything since her shift ended. The guy's parents offered her a Subway footlong, but it was covered in mayonnaise and peppers, which Snoopy just couldn't eat. The only thing they had to drink was diet soda, which again Snoopy couldn't have because of her allergies. She'd also forgotten her jacket, so she was cold, hungry, and uncomfortable all through the movie. When it ended, the guy asked Snoopy what she wanted to do. She had no idea, so he said,
"Okay, I have a suggestion. Say yes or no."
He then typed the word sex into his Xbox search bar. Snoopy shouted, "No!" And they ended the date right there. The guy was angry at her, even though it was literally the first time they'd hung out together outside of work, and they'd never kissed, and his parents were in the other room. He took her home, sulking the whole way, and gave her no goodnight kiss. He should have grabbed her boobs. That tends to make women swoon, right? Right, creepy guy? Right? Nah. Number 6 was submitted by mrfristy. While recovering from a cold, Kyle went on a date with a girl he liked. Things were going so well that she leaned in to kiss him. It was his first kiss, so Kyle was pretty nervous, but it went smoothly. That is until they stopped kissing and Kyle saw one of his boogers stuck to the poor girl's cheek. He figured the date would be ruined if he told her, so he ignored it. They later went to McDonald's for a meal and the booger was still on her face the entire time. Nobody told her. Number 5 was submitted by neverdittanything. One time Andy went on a hot date with a guy. It went so well that they ended up back at his place. They went up to his room, closed the door, and started having sex. The guy told Andy he had a roommate, but assured her he wouldn't bother them. The sex was great, and Andy was getting very carried away. While she was mid-orgasm, she heard the door to the room suddenly open and close again. It was the roommate. When they finished, they went downstairs, and Andy had to awkwardly meet this person who had walked in on them. The roommate said he didn't see anything and apologized for coming in without knocking. Apparently he'd heard Andy's screams of pleasure and thought they were watching a crazy anime. Andy was super embarrassed. Number 4 was submitted by Yeet on This. So Honeybits met this guy through some friends of friends. On their first date, he was a complete gentleman, opening doors for her, pulling out a chair and paying for their meal. Honeybits was so impressed that she agreed to a second date. On that second date, they went to the mall. They were getting along great, enjoying the time, until he dropped the bomb that he believed he could talk to Satan. He claimed that he had demons in his head who could tell him about all the gruesome ways he could kill people. Fearing for her life, Honeybits immediately shut the relationship down and got with another guy a few months later. But her satanic ex wasn't ready for things to end. He tracked down Honeybits' new man and stood at his door in silence. The cops were called and the crazy Satanist left with just a warning. Honeybits blocked him on every media site and hasn't seen or heard from him since, which means he's still out there. Number 3 was submitted by Captain Frosty 88. So Hellbent met this girl on a dating website. They talked for 2 days straight, seemed to hit her off. She didn't have a profile picture but described herself as attractive. They lived quite close to each other, so arranged to meet at a restaurant called Outback. Hellbent met her that night, and she wasn't at all what he was expecting. She was at least 380 pounds and had 2 double chins. Not wanting to seem rude, Hellbent sat down with her and tried to make the best of it. They started to look at the menus when Hellbent's date suddenly pulled out a Big Mac from her purse and began to gobble it down right there and then. At that point, Hellbent left and drove away on the spot. Number 2 was submitted by Bob SMD123123. Pringle once went on a date to a teppanyaki restaurant. You know, the places where they cook the food in front of you. Things were going well and Pringle was doing everything he could to impress the girl. But unfortunately, the guy working the grill was new. He went to do his little trick of throwing the shrimp into Pringle's mouth, but the shrimp ignited mid-toss. Pringle didn't catch it, but it landed on his shirt and immediately caught fire. Pringle started panicking, forgot he was supposed to roll around on the ground, and instead he just ripped off all his clothes. Fortunately, he managed to avoid getting permanently scarred, but sadly, he didn't get a second date. Number 1 was submitted by me. What's my most horrifying first date experience? Well, it was less the first date and more the girl I was dating. Although the first date was kinda crappy because I just had surgery on my foot, so I was kinda limping. It didn't look very attractive, but suffice to say, we kept seeing each other after that, which was a huge mistake. Well, I guess the first red flag, and this was a pretty major one, was her smoking. Now, it wasn't just that she smokes, that's, you know, a lot of people smoke. It was how she smoked, right? So, when we were walking in a train station, she was out of ciggies, and she couldn't afford to buy new ones. So, she found one on the ground that some random had been smoking, picked it up, and before my eyes started to smoke it. I wanted to projectile vomit then, right then. I could not believe it. There had to be 15 diseases on this thing. You know, Ebola, malaria, fucking AIDS. And now I was gonna get all these diseases, thanks. That was when I noticed that she had a wedding ring on. Yep, that's right. She was fucking married. Yep, I was dating a married chick. Well, she did her best to keep it secret, but it was very easy to see through. So after that I was like, I'm good. I'm out, I'm good. I haven't seen her since, thank you Lord. And now I have a delicious fiance, and I love her very much. Huge thanks folks over the Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the craziest thing you've seen your girlfriend do? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. That's it for this video, and have a good one! Diaper didn't fit. However, he made a makeshift one and would wear them like that until inevitably he bought his first box of adult diapers. And he's been hooked on them ever since, cause he's a fucking weirdo. He doesn't need diapers, he wears them purely for the